right, the Congress though has a real question staring at it in the face about where it goes next. It's not only the loss in Punjab and in Uttarakhand, two states where they were said to have very good chances. The fact that you had a sitting chief minister lose from both of his seats, this was supposed to be the Ramban of the Congress in Punjab. In Uttarakhand, where the BJP has trumped past examples to come back for a second term, the Congress again found itself struggling, and likewise in Goa. The real shock though is in Uttar Pradesh, where there were stories of a grand revival under the leadership of Priyanka Gandhi. Clearly that didn't happen. Their seats went down, and embarrassingly so did their vote share to an all-time low. What really is the road ahead then for the Congress? So what really is the problem that the Congress party is facing at this point? Joining us is somebody who has been a part of not just the party but also the government and knows it from the inside out. So in Uttar Pradesh only, if we were to look at the performance of the party, from 6.25% in 2017, it's gone down further to 2.4%. What's the reason?
Well, the reason is obviously things that are happening in our democracy, good and bad. From our point of view, they are unwholesome things, bad things, and not just for us, but for the country as well. And that's the reason why you've seen the results that you have. We couldn't have been faulted on having put in as much energy as an election requires. I think we prepared well, we did the best that we could, we came up with some innovative ideas, and we highlighted the very, very, very dramatic failures of the BJP government. But if democracy has taken a particular turn in our times, then obviously the answer lies somewhere in why democracy has taken that turn. We can't do more than try to analyze what's happened, which we'll do, and then of course do a course correction where that is necessary. But we don't necessarily know today, right now at this moment, why the results should have been so bad as they are. I mean, 6% or 8% or 14% would have been understood, but for it to have fallen to 2% is something very difficult for me to explain right away, but I'm sure we'll get around to explaining it.
Can I just take you back to what you said about democracy taking a turn for maybe the worse, or you said it's taken a turn. What exact turn has democracy taken because of which the Congress is successively being rejected by the electorate?
No, let's just say, let's not say Congress is being rejected, everybody else is being rejected. I mean, today Congress has been rejected in Uttar Pradesh, but Samajwadi Party as an alternative has also been rejected in Uttar Pradesh. Now, therefore, when I make a proposition on democracy taking a turn, unwholesome as far as we are concerned, it applies to everybody who's in the field. It doesn't just apply to us. It applies to the people who succeed as well. I mean, in Punjab, I believe that the turn that democracy has taken is given an Aam Aadmi Party sweep in Punjab. That to me is just as worrisome as my own loss in Uttar Pradesh is worrisome. So this is a deeper question that will take much longer to explain rather than just quick responses on the day on which the bad results have come.
I'm sorry to press you further.
Be that as it may.
What is this unwholesome turn?
Well, the unwholesome turn we've seen in history of the world many times. You know, there are deficits of democracy, and democracy is subject to manipulation, and democracy therefore has always required protection from all sides. And I think you know better than anyone else in the media that democracy requires to be protected. It's a very fragile instrument. The only reason why we have democracy is that there is nothing better to express your your preference for the way of life that you want to lead, and therefore democracy is treated as the best. But there are internal and external problems with democracy, and I think some of those problems are having an extremely negative impact in our times.
When you say democracy manipulated, are you suggesting that the election process is manipulated? Because the election is the most certain expression of democracy.
If I had to say that, listen, if I had to say that, I would have said it. Don't read anything I'm saying. Democracy is manipulated the world over by money. It's manipulated the world over by people who control a particular section of media. It's influenced by many other factors, and this is not in India alone. It happens in many parts of the world. And I mean, do I need to take you back to what happened in the United States of America during the Trump era and the conclusion of the Trump era? There was again within democracy something going wrong. But it's not to say that while democracy in whichever form lasts, that you will question the results of that. We have to accept results because we are committed Democrats. So whatever result comes, we have to accept it. And normally we accept it with as much graciousness as there is at our command.
So,
and we will do the same. We will do the same.
Can I ask you, did the Congress go wrong anywhere in Uttar Pradesh? Or it did everything right and somehow manipulation decided the results? Did the Congress make any mistakes?
Listen, I'm sure that we have made mistakes. I mean, if I say that there's manipulation, and a mistake would be not being able to tackle the manipulation. I'm sure there are mistakes, but those mistakes are not something that I'm going to sit here and talk about. We have to go back to the drawing board. We'll go back into our conclaves. We will talk about where we think we may have gone wrong. And you do a analysis, a SWOT analysis, on the basis of the larger spectrum of events that are happening. Obviously, you don't do it in an artificial atmosphere. But I keep repeating that whatever may be our discontent with democracy at a given time, we still bow to the decision of the people. Can't question that. Now, whatever the people have decided, graciously we have to accept it. Yeah.
Now, considering that Ms. Priyanka Gandhi was the face of the Congress campaign in Uttar Pradesh, and the fact that the Congress has drawn an almost zero in the state, what does this say about her leadership?
It says nothing at all. Her leadership is for us. We see her leadership from close quarters. We don't share with you whatever she may have told us about her plans, about her aspirations, about her expectations, and about her worst fears. We have not told you about that, but we've been through that whole process, and whatever the process she has in mind does not end in the results day to day in 2022. It goes much further and much beyond.
But sir, this was her first big campaign.
So many people wanting to worry. Wait a minute. Please hear me. Please hear me.
Sure.
That a lot of people who worry so much about our leadership, they seem to be more worried about our leadership than we are. Leave the leadership to us. I mean, we are not blind, we are not dumb, and we are not stupid. So leave the leadership to us. We know our incapacities, we know our difficulties, we know our aspirations, and we know our leadership. So leave the leadership to us. Leave the leadership to us. But if there is a disquiet or if there is a disappointment, that's something that we must feel, not you. Why are you sort of feeling disappointed about our leader?
This is purely an academic question. When you are looking at an alternative to the BJP, the Samajwadi Party, since you said the Samajwadi Party has also been rejected, yes, they haven't won a majority, but they've increased both their vote share and their seat share. However, the Congress is the only one which has lost both as compared to last time. Between 2017 and 2022, Samajwadi Party has gained seats and votes.
Thank you very much, and that is a very good reason why they've gained. We saw a similar gain happen in certain sections in Bengal when the last Bengal elections happened. Something similar may well have happened to the Samajwadi Party in UP, but our analysis was that Samajwadi Party's total presentation, despite anything that they can garner, will not give them a clear lead over the BJP. That was our internal analysis. We would have been very happy to see them win because we were essentially against the BJP. But it was our understanding that they wouldn't be able to do it given their own inhibitions or given their own party structure. But if they've done well and they're happy with it, congratulations. I have no problem. If they've increased their vote share, they increased their seats, I have no problem. Congratulations to them. But you know, given what UP politics is about and given what Samajwadi Party politics is about, I don't think that they will be really very happy about just being number 2 behind BJP by whatever 100 seats or 90 seats.
Now, this wasn't just about Uttar Pradesh for Mrs. Priyanka Gandhi. It was also the decisions being taken in Punjab. They were the most prominent faces, Priyanka Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi. Despite the fact that both these states have been lost, one where you were in government, where your chief minister candidate, by the way, has lost both of his seats, and another where you're almost in oblivion. Do you still think that Mr. Gandhi and Mrs. Gandhi Vadra are still viable leaders for the party?
I don't have to go into an explanation. My answer is yes. My answer is yes. Now, if I'm persuaded that they are viable leaders, and I believe they are my leaders, there's nothing more that I owe to anybody else as an explanation. But you know, when you bring up these issues of Mr. Channi having lost both seats, well, the Chief Minister of Uttarakhand has succeeded in getting the government again, but he's lost his seat as well. He's lost his seat as well. Nobody is asking me a question about how can you win when the Chief Minister loses. And the Chief Minister loses, then there is a complete lack of confidence in the person who was leading the party. And yet the party has been able to squeeze itself in with a few numbers. These are all imponderables of democracy that you can't pat answer on the day the results have come. Things will be analyzed, people will write books about it, maybe you and your channel colleagues will write books about it, and then we will know. Even then, you never really know the ultimate truth, because what is the fact remains contested for a long time.
Now,
but at the end of the day, may I just draw a line and say that the leadership issue is ours. Why is everybody else so worried about leadership issues? We are happy, and if we are happy, leave us to be.
You are happy with Rahul Gandhi's leadership?
I said so. I said so.
Okay.
I mean, don't ask me 200 times so that I trip up and I make a mistake and I say, right? I've said so. We are happy. We underscore we are happy, and we are completely backing them and will continue to do so. If is there something to say to them, or they want us to say something, that will be done behind closed doors, and the appropriate information will be given to you outside.
Now, and I guess it's for that purpose that Mrs. Gandhi has called for a Congress Working Committee meeting. What would you say to people, parties like the Aam Aadmi Party, for example? They said very clearly, we are the only national alternative to the BJP now. We are in power in 2 states. We have as many states as the Congress does. They are the past. We are the future. What would you say to that?
Good. They live in a world of delusion. Good for them. And that's why I said, I started my conversation with you with deficits of democracy. And I said there are issues that happen in democracies in every country that have to be understood and that have to be tolerated. And we will tolerate them unless we are able to influence them in another direction. Now, they have benefited. And please go back to what I said earlier. Those who have succeeded in the place of BJP and us, and those who have not succeeded, or the BJP itself, I've said there are, for every one of them, there is something that I have to say on in terms of the totality of democracy and the turn that it's taken. But it's not to question that they have no legitimacy in ruling. They have. I've said it again and again. I bow. I congratulate them. They've won an election. Now let them run a good government.
Final question to you. Do you think that now the Yogi-Modi formula is unstoppable before 2024? Given that in the face of all the allegations that they were charged with COVID mishandling, they have managed to get this result.
So is this a result in an announcement to Indian civilization that we will throw your corpses in the river, we will not give you food, we'll starve you of medicine, we'll starve you of oxygen, we will ensure that your businesses collapse, we will ensure that your women are not treated with the honor that they deserve, and you continue voting for us. That's why I started by saying there are deficits of democracy. I am a committed Democrat, but I do know that there are deficits of democracy that we need to address, and they can't be addressed overnight and in a moment. It takes time, maybe my generation, maybe the next generation, but we will. And I do believe that the media has a very important role, because the big sufferers of the deficit will be the media in due course, unless you step in to check that deficit in democracy.
All right, let's hope those deficits are addressed in due time. Thank you very much, Mr. Salman Khurshid, and good luck. The Congress says it is capable of rejuvenation and bouncing back. Thank you, Mr. Khurshid, for speaking to us.